So we know AI is become a topic of everyone's mouth recently. Katie King, you are an expert in AI. You talk about how there's 4 stages of industrial revolution, for example, first being steam, then electricity, then the industrial age, and now AI. So Katie, could you talk to us about who you are, what you do, your journey with AI?
Definitely. Thank you, Shiv. Hi, everyone. So I'm probably double the age of most of you in the room, and that's quite cool in a way, because I've been doing this for 30 years. I've been doing marketing for 30 years, and I've invested in AI and upskilled in AI and written 2 books in AI in the past 10 years. And the honest truth for that is to have a USP. So I started very traditionally. I then was one of the forerunners in digital when everyone was really skeptical about digital platforms. And then about 10 years ago, I got involved in AI and nobody had a clue what it was about. And I'd say it's only really been in the last 6 to 12 months with ChatGPT, with generative AI, that it's really exploded, which is it's fantastic. But I've written 2 books on how you apply AI to business. I'm not a technologist. I've been most of my career in the tech space, but I'm not teaching people to code in Python and TensorFlow. I've written books that help people understand, how do you apply this to business? What are some of the tools? What are some of the methodologies, etc.? So that's what my focus is. And I wear lots of different hats. So I'm on the all-party parliamentary group looking at enterprise adoption of AI and on the editorial board of the AI and Ethics Journal. So lots of different hats that give me exposure to how AI is really driving marketing in particular, and sales and customer experience, which I'm sure we'll explore a little bit more over the next 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, 100%. And it might make a lot of people in this room feel comfortable that you're not actually a coder deep in the code, because that makes it a lot more attainable for everyone.
Yeah. And that's important, don't get me wrong. If you've got those kinds of skills, you're well sorted. But I think what I'd really say is we are all on a journey of continuous learning. Whether you come out weeks ago or this June with a degree in marketing, or like me, you've been doing it forever, or you've been doing it for 10 years, we've all got to upskill all the time. We've got new tools are coming out every day. It's exploded. This is a technology that's been around for 70 years. And it's only really become viable in the last 2 or 3 years, because we've got the big data and we've got the cheap compute power. So all the investors are all over it, and there are tools cropping up all the time. It's really exploded.
Yeah, and we'll be talking about Kudo later today, which actually epitomises how much change there has been in the past few years in the AI space. So in terms of artificial intelligence and its journey, how do you think marketeers can adapt some of the technologies that AI has kind of created over the past few years into their marketing strategy?
So many ways, it's hard to know where to start. I like to describe it not as artificial intelligence, but augmented intelligence. So it's big data. So all of us across our marketing, our CX, our sales, we need insights. And I think 2 of the biggest areas are time saving and CX. Having marketing, a definition of marketing is satisfying customer needs profitably. So at the heart of all marketing is the customer, whether it's client, customer, DTC, B2B, whatever it might be. The client is at the center of all of that. So the tools are there, and it's changing by the day what people are saying about generative AI and the impact it's going to have on jobs, but they're there to help you do things better and to almost go from people thinking, oh, big scary robot coming and taking my job. Actually, no. This is, and I've got a whole chapter in my first book on, this is the paradox of personalization, because actually infused with AI, and I don't mean a robot or a robotic arm and all the other areas of AI. I'm talking about insights that come from one of the tools that maybe some of your sponsors have, or Concurred or Jasper or ChatGPT. They're giving you insights. So what AI is doing is helping save you time to do some of those dirty, dull, dangerous things that, many of us have to do, freeing us up to be a bit more strategic.
Yeah.
And giving us insights on our ideal clients, our most profitable customers, that then enables us to go and map and get more and more of those kinds of customers.
So it's more of a helper than the world is going to turn into iRobot.
Yes, although again, in recent months, we're seeing quite a lot of visionaries and people that I interviewed for my first book back in 2019. That first book came out. The latest one came out in the past year, and people were saying that artificial general intelligence was many moons off, and now they're starting to talk about it in a slightly nearer frame. But anyway, that's for another time.
Not to scare you, guys.
But it is, they're tools.
Yeah.
They're the latest raft of tools. We've had software as a service, haven't we? We've had digital tools for many years. They're not coming to take your job, but your job will get eaten away by other people who do invest in those tools and other companies. So you will be made redundant, or your company will go out of business if you don't invest and upscale in the right kind of tools.
And yeah, just to give you a scale of this, Katie, you've written books in 2019 most recently. Things have changed during that time.
Hugely.
When I at university, I studied natural language processing, which is a part of AI. By the time that my essay came out, it was already redundant because technology just moved on so quickly.
But in a way, it's redundant in some respects. But like me, certain tools have moved on, new ones have come along, but the fundamentals are the same, aren't they?
100%.
And I think we're not, again, teaching people to code. You might be, but I'm there to think about, okay, it's a bit of a wild west out there, and people are saying, which tools do we invest in? And you need to do your due diligence. You need to maybe have third-party endorsements, Gartner Cool Vendor Awards, recommendations, etc., and do incremental steps and make sure that it's working for you. But still the fundamentals of at the start point is strategy, and it's meaning you can be really analytical. And years ago, it was a bit of guesswork. So I think marketing has really become that science, and that's what's so powerful.
And it's great to see. And you share multiple case studies in your books around AI and its use in marketing. Could you tell me your favourite case study?
Yeah, I think there's two. One would be, and again, this is a whole new world opens up, doesn't it? So certain jobs disappear and new job titles come along. So I interviewed the Chief Experience Officer, a job title we didn't have years ago, from TGI Fridays. And for them, it's about big data. If I give them my consent to use my data, then they're no longer going to be saying female, 40 to 55. They're going to be saying, Katie comes into our restaurant twice a month. She orders ribs, her partner's vegan, and so on. And that applies in store, and that applies through their marketing as well. And it's the same with banks and so on. So going from being a big homogenous mass to being really granular and detailed, that's one. And then the other would be someone like Kia Motors, who are really using the insights to feed in to their product life cycle. So they'll be getting data from their customers using AI, using a tool called FIFO, and analysing that data and understanding what do their electric vehicle and non-electric vehicle clients, for example, think about that, and feeding that in and getting insights and developing the product or service around that and understanding sentiment. So I think that feeds into digital marketing, it feeds into product marketing, it feeds into customer experience. So they're just two examples.
And it's really interesting. A car company and a really great food restaurant just shows how broad AI can be. So talk to me in terms of the strategies that you think today's marketing will evolve into and how people will need to learn those type of skills in order to flourish.
Definitely. So I think what the AI is giving you those big data insights if you use the right tools, and it's freeing up time. I think it democratizes everything. So you could come in very junior and you've no longer got to do 10, 15, 20 years, grey hair to get the gravitas. Equally, you could be of a certain age with grey hair and gravitas and invest in the latest tools and be as current. So I think what it's doing is it's democratizing everything, ensuring that we have the right sort of analytics and freeing us up because we haven't got to do a lot of mundane. We can use ChatGPT to do report writing, to write blogs, etc. We've got to fact check, we've got to have a human in the loop, we've got to make sure that it's really up to date. But if we're freed up to do many of those very time-consuming things, we should be able to spend more time putting the customer at the centre of everything and being a bit more strategic and thinking about international growth and all of those aspirational things that we've discussed earlier in this morning's sessions. I think it's doing things on many different levels. If you are a hotel, you could have a concierge robot at the front house, but equally you might have some AI in the rooms controlling air conditioning, and then you might have a robot doing flipping of the burgers in catering. So it's a family of technologies which has sentiment analysis and robotic process automation, natural language programming. So it's doing all different aspects of your marketing.
Yeah, and that's across not just digital marketing, out of home.
Absolutely.
Every type of marketing that you'll be doing now in the future will have some elements of AI or some. And AI isn't, as you've mentioned, Katie, it isn't this scary thing, is it? And it's just something that you can upskill and train in.
Exactly. It isn't. If I can do it, you can all do it. It's making manageable chunks. It can be expensive if you're investing in operationalizing your whole organization using it, but it might be something as simple as a free tool or a tool that's costing you £50 a month that actually gives you really good insight. So I think it's across the board in all aspects of marketing to assist you and not to take away your job, but to take away those dangerous and the monotonous aspects of what we do as marketers, and therefore to free us up.
Perfect. That, I think, makes complete sense in terms of just having that operational support from the AI perspective, whether it's helping you spell check or helping you sort your best things out. So in terms of the audience participations, I'd love to open the floor because AI has become something that's exploded over the past few months, and you may have some questions for an incredible expert like Katie. Does anyone have any questions about AI?
That's it.
Great.
I'll go first. Is AI alive? Is it sentient?
Not yet. It isn't at the moment. No.
Share your views on that. Sorry.
Yeah. It isn't at the moment. Sentience, it's certainly able to be creative. And if you think about creativity in marketing, that's very powerful. And what the AI does, the AI is only as good as it's the way it's been programmed and then how it then learns through machine learning. So it can certainly give the impression of being sentient. It can be taught. I've worked with Ada, the AI robotic artist, and there are many others out there who, through facial recognition and scanning, can decide whether are you frowning, are you smiling, are you happy, and ask you, and you're thinking, wow, it can sense who I am. So at the moment, but there's some very interesting talks about how it is evolving, and when we are able to crack neuroscience and understand how the neurons in the brain work, that might be a whole different ball game. But at the moment, no.
And
but
Katie,
it can crunch data and appear to be very creative.
And Katie, that opens it up to ethics questions.
Yeah.
So could you just touch on ethics around AI as you touch on in your book?
Yeah, that's a huge area. So let's just pick off one prime example. Two, actually. One is data. As companies, you have got to demonstrate that you are being careful with people's data. And depending on where you operate, if you operate in the UK, we have GDPR. We have a clause within GDPR which talks about transparent use of data. So it's really important that people can trust. We might be distrusting AI. Your customers might be distrusting AI. So that's an important one. Proper disclosure about the use of customer data. And then I guess the other one would be bias. Bias is so important. And let's say you are thinking about your target market, you might be discriminating against people of a certain ability, disability, gender, nationality, and so on. So what the AI can do is help you. There are different tools that can help you do this, but one danger is that you continue to program the AI with the same type of data that you've been using for the past 20 years, which almost fuels that bias. So I think we really need to think about, the phrase is garbage in, garbage out. Think about your data lake. Think about the way the AI is programmed. Think about the data in the tools that you get from third parties, and just make sure that bias isn't a problem.
And you help people understand the complexity of AI in your books, and rightly highly recommend these books. So could you talk about how you help brands, like the scorecard that you mentioned to us?
Yeah, the scorecard was actually in book 1, but it's still used really well. My website is aiinbusiness.co.uk, so you can grab it for free off of there. And a lot of people gamify it, and you can give yourself a score. So it's 10 areas, and you give yourself a score of 0 to 5 across all of those areas. And what it touches on is the mindset. I won't go through all 10 because we'll be here forever, but what's the mindset for AI? Okay, so how do you ensure, and again, it might be, I'm going to be a bit contentious, Mr. Pale Male Stale, and I might be female, but I might be falling into that category, but I'm not, because you don't need to hit a certain age and be behind. You can be an innovator even if you are 56. You're thinking about your management team, having buy-in from the board, touching on ethics. You're thinking about doing proofs of concept. So my scorecard goes into all of those: hiring, the talent piece, the culture, and the roadmap. So some of the most important ones are A, having buy-in, and then Z over here, Z, having a plan. So don't just approach this in a really tactical way. Think about it in a really strategic way. And it's fun. There's some incredible tools out there. Think about Microsoft 365 that just announced Copilot is going to bring this into our, if we're Microsoft users, our day-to-day usage. ChatGPT has opened the floodgates, but there are some really powerful tools out there. I'm sure some of the sponsors have them too. Just get your fingers dirty. Go out there, have a watching brief on the competition. Think about the tools that are out there in the market. It's affordable, a lot of it's free, and if you bury your head in sand for too long, you'll get left behind.
Great. And before we head off to Tash's more granular detail of how she's using AI across her businesses, does anyone have any final questions for Katie? Go on then, Rosie.
Hi, Katie.
Hi.
Creative lead here, but a copywriter by nature. So me and ChatGPT have a complicated relationship. I guess we've got a lot of brands in the room that are under financial pressure, so they might be hearing or seeing on LinkedIn a lot that you can not hire copywriters, or don't do this, don't do that, because ChatGPT will do it for you. At this stage, do you think we're at a point where that advice is good, don't hire, or rather stop hiring, just rely on ChatGPT? Or would you say that there is value in maybe teaching your staff to become prompt engineers, use the tool, but not yet replacing people with it?
Yeah, close to home, because my daughter asked me exactly the same thing. And I run a digital marketing agency day-to-day, Zudicas, so it's what we do for clients too. Certainly there will be some erosion of those jobs. It's inevitable in the medium term, but ChatGPT doesn't replace copywriters. Copywriters will get replaced if they don't use the best tools on the market that give them a competitive edge. So if you can do more jobs, if you're a freelancer, for example, and you can use ChatGPT to maybe give you 60% of what you would normally do, you top and tail it, but you've got to know how to give it a really good brief. So if it can help you do things faster, you can do more of what you do and hopefully make up any of the deficit. So I certainly wouldn't be making anybody redundant and saying, right, ChatGPT is going to take over all of that. But equally, I would be upskilling all of my people to ensure that they use the best tools on the market. But you've got to have a human in the loop. ChatGPT is only trained up till, I think it was September, October 21. It makes a lot of mistakes, and you've got to fact check. I certainly wouldn't put something in front of a client that had been written without someone else topping and tailing it, giving it the right kind of tone of voice. People deal with people, and our clients need to deal with us as the account managers, as the writers, and we've got to tune into the strategy. So I think it will force us all to maybe be a little bit more strategic with the work that we do, rather than maybe to do more of the work that the AI can start to take away from a little bit.
I agree.
Good. You're hired.
Thank you so much, Katie. for talking with us, and ultimately it's about using AI to be able to enhance, upskill and make us superhumans, which will lead on to our next talk with Tash. So thank you so much for joining.
My pleasure. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie.
My pleasure.